You're engaged. Congratulations. How's wedding planning going? Is your wedding budget spiraling out of control? Are you worried about your guests judging your choices? Want to save thousands on your wedding without anyone knowing the differences? Thanks for joining us. Hi, I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions. We'll answer these questions and more in today's edition of the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Welcome to another edition of our podcast. Hi, I'm Sal from After Hours Events of New England. Listen now and discover how to cut wedding costs without compromising magic. These are Wedding Insider secrets for a stress-free, fun, and memorable day. Our podcast helps engaged couples navigate wedding planning complexities while addressing family expectations. We'll guide you through the journey of creating the perfect wedding day without unnecessary stress. By the end of this edition, you'll get concise tips on budgeting, wedding party management, ceremony, reception planning, and more. Perfect for anyone planning a wedding, all in 30 minutes or less. Trust us, you don't want to miss it.
Welcome to Stress-Free Wedding Planning, the podcast that will transform your wedding planning journey from chaotic to enchanting. Sal and Sam bring over 80 years of combined wedding expertise and exclusive insider information to the table. If you're recently engaged, feeling the pressure of wedding planning, struggling with family expectations, but still dreaming of a joy-filled wedding, you've come to the right place. Get ready to unveil the best-kept wedding secrets, discover practical tips and strategies, and learn life-changing lessons for a stress-free wedding. Your unforgettable wedding day awaits. We're here to take you on a transformative journey of love, laughter, and memories. So don't miss out on the podcast that just might change your life. This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
On today's podcast, we'll explain how to cut wedding costs without compromising the magic. Today, 7 surprisingly easy cuts you can make on your wedding budget that'll save you thousands. Hi, I'm Sam from the award-winning Atmosphere Productions, wedding entertainment with expert knowledge and the difference in quality, specializing in live ceremony musicians and cocktail hour string musicians, plus lighting and an elegant and classy presentation. We have exactly what you need. Visit us at atmosphere-productions.com. That's atmosphere-productions.com. Learn more about our experience and journey to help you with stress-free wedding planning in the trailer or pilot of this podcast.
Confused about what's really essential for your big day? Is your dream wedding on a tight budget? Before the end of today's edition, you'll learn how to save money, dazzle your guests, and slash your wedding budget. Hi, I'm Sal from After Hours Events in New England, the experts in creating a stress-free, unforgettable wedding experience. We bring energy, professionalism, and a passion to making every couple's big day truly special. Visit us at afterhoursevents.ne.com.
Planning a wedding involves many decisions, and the costs can mount quickly. Many couples find themselves overwhelmed by the pressure to include every element, every tradition. But the truth is, your guests won't even notice if you cut certain expenses. By prioritizing what truly matters to you and your partner, you can create a memorable celebration without breaking the bank. Today, we'll explain how to cut your wedding costs without compromising the magic.
Sam, let's get into it with the very first thing here, and that is the wedding program. We see this so often at weddings where they're being handed out just before the ceremony, and they kind of list everything on it that they need to know, from how the ceremony is going to be ran and what's going to happen later on, the names of the wedding party, the parents, everything is on there. But to be honest, how many people really keep that? Or they're just kind of folding it up, put it in their pocket, toss it away later? Make it interesting if you're going to spend some money. So here's an idea. Why don't we turn the program into something that is useful to your guests? So say it's a hot summer wedding outside. Get a fan and have all that information on the fan, or anything that creative. It doesn't have to be just plain piece of paper. It can be something that's very useful that they're going to keep later as a keepsake at home and cherish it forever.
Here's why you can skip this. In today's digital age, most people are used to using online information. So instead of printing those programs, which Sal says most people do not use, create a website, or you can have a QR code that guests can usually access with their smartphone. They are going to have their phones out anyway, unless you're having an unplugged wedding, of course. You can include all the essential information that you need right on this website or within the location of the QR code. The savings on this can mount up. So typical wedding programs range from $50 up to well over $1,000. The average cost is about $600. So there's a big savings there.
Definitely. And you always got to think about saving each penny you can. So now the second thing is many couples will have long distance friends and they want to bring them and make them part of their wedding party. And keep in mind, it can increase your expense because you have to worry about hair, makeup, flowers, transportation, and gifts. So maybe you want to keep it a little more local so you keep the numbers smaller and save some money on top of it.
Here's why you can skip it then. It's tempting to ask all your friends that live from coast to coast, but you're not considering their financial and logistical implications. So keeping it smaller, intimate, and local for your wedding party will streamline and save you money, as well as obviously the people that you're going to ask. For your friends who live far away and may not be able to make the commitments, you may just want to invite them as guests to your wedding. This will save a lot of complication and a lot of stress. While the savings on that is hard to quantify, you will reduce the wedding party size, and in effect, you'll get savings there. But also remember the attire, the hair and makeup, the gifts, the transportation, all that can be added up as well. And this can range from $500 to $1,000 or more. So yet again, there's another place that you can do some savings.
Just as a reminder, you can also join us on our YouTube channel. Just search for Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam. Subscribe and get it first. And the third thing, something that could really drive your budget a little crazy, is going with a fancy cake. There's all kinds of cakes, and these have been the centerpieces for weddings forever, from multi-tiered to special designs, have water flutes going above it, and it gets really crazy. So you want to be really careful with how much you spend on your cake, and is it really worth it?
Now, why you can skip it? Many guests are not particularly interested in the cake. I'm sure you've been to weddings before where instead of the cake, they had cupcakes. Well, that is one of the reasons why some people do it, to save that huge cost of the cake. Now, you can also have other desserts that supplement the cake. In this modern era, a cake doesn't necessarily have to be the centerpiece. You can have those donut walls, as I mentioned, the cupcakes, or a dessert table, and you're going without the cake altogether. You may also want to have a second buffet later in the night, so you dispense with the cake altogether. I've had weddings where they had Chinese food or McDonald's broading. These are options that are budget-friendly and will satisfy your guests. You could save from anywhere from $300 to $500 up to $1,000 or more.
Now, the fourth thing is not something that people always think about, and that's the champagne toast. Yeah, it's customary. It's a big part of the wedding reception, but the cost of champagne, especially if you're going with a high-end brand, can be very, very expensive. So you may want to think of an alternative.
And here's why you can skip that champagne toast. Most guests won't even notice between the expensive champagne and maybe some more affordable sparkling wine. Instead of having a formal champagne toast, consider allowing guests to toast with whatever they have. Sometimes many facilities will just have wine already poured. Toast with that. You don't have to go with an expensive champagne in order to just have a champagne toast. It can be called just a toast. You can get savings from between $200 to $400 depending on your guest count.
We've just explained 4 surprisingly easy cuts you can make to your wedding budget that will save you thousands. For instance, the wedding programs involving long-distance friends in the wedding party, having a big fancy wedding cake, and champagne toast.
Coming up next, the farewell brunch and wedding favors. But first, If you have a question or concern, go now to Facebook and join us on the stress-free wedding planning community and ask away. You can also join us on our YouTube channel. Just search for the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam. Subscribe and get it first.
This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam, a podcast for engaged couples concerned about wedding planning and family expectations, but who want a stress-free, fun, and unforgettable wedding.
On today's Wedding Tip Wednesday,
Create a no-phone zone. Communicating during the planning stages of your wedding is essential. Establish a no-phone zone at home. This way, you can talk to each other instead of just sending memes and TikTok links. Very important.
that's another wedding tip from Sal and Sam.
Experience the magic of your special day with Fitzner Productions, a premier wedding videography company based in Middletown, Connecticut. FitznerProductions.com. Our mission is to capture your love story candidly and authentically, creating stunning, high-quality videos that you can cherish for years to come. Our founder, Carson Fitzner, combines technical expertise with a passion of storytelling, ensuring every moment from the excitement of getting ready to the heartfelt ceremony is beautifully documented. We offer a range of customizable packages, including drone footage and multi-location shoots, tailored to fit your unique vision. Let us help you relive the romance, laughter, and tears of your wedding day. Visit FitznerProductions.com. That's FITZNER Productions.com.
Welcome back to our discussion about how to cut your wedding costs without compromising the magic. Today, we're in the middle of explaining 7 surprisingly easy cuts that you can make to your wedding budget that'll save you thousands. I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions.
I'm Sal from After Hours Events in New England. We've already discussed wedding programs involving long-distance friends in the wedding party and having a big fancy wedding cake and, of course, the champagne toast. Next on our list, number 5, is upgraded wine selections. So many couples feel like they're pressured to offer a wide variety of expensive wines to impress their guests. But unless your guest list is full of wine connoisseurs, most people won't notice the difference between a $25 bottle or a $75 bottle.
Here's why you can skip it. You can focus on just having a few chosen wines that pair well with your menu. Don't feel obligated that you have to spend top-shelf money on your wedding wine list. It's a wedding, not a wine tasting. You can also buy your own alcohol if it's allowed by the facility or state laws allow you to do this. So use the house or venue wine. That may be able to save you some money as well. Considering standard wine options instead of premium selections can save you between $300 to $500 or more, especially if you have a larger wedding.
Now we're up to number 6, and we're going to talk about the Farewell Brunch. A farewell brunch the morning after the wedding is a thoughtful gesture, and this is usually when you have guests come see you the next morning, and it's usually at the hotel in which you're all staying, and you have a moment to be together. But this is something that can be very expensive that is very unnecessary.
And that's one of the reasons why you should skip it. It's because it can be very expensive. Instead of hosting a formal brunch, considering a list of local breakfast spots or cafes that your guests can go and explore by themselves. Or you can just meet up in the hotel lobby and then decide where you go from there. It can mount up if you have to pay for it yourself. I've even had weddings where they've arranged to go back to somebody else's house and have morning breakfast cooked there. Whatever it takes, your saving can mount up $20 to $40 per person for a wedding with over 100 guests. You know, that's a lot of money. You could save yourself between $2,000 and $4,000. Big savings.
Now, the next thing on the list is number 7, and we're going to talk about favors. Wedding favors are that small little gift that are given to guests as a token of appreciation, such as the silver corkscrew or even the bottle opener or anything of that nature. While it can be a nice touch, many favors end up being unwanted items that guests don't need and many times end up in a garbage or in the back of a drawer.
And that's why you can skip it. Because favors are not obligatory. There's nowhere that it's said that you have to buy favors. They are just an added incentive that you add-on. So instead of spending money on favors that may just be discarded, invest in your celebration. Go with a photo booth or a live musician, or donate to a charity, or do something that has some meaningful impact on your honeymoon. Yes, you don't have to spend the money for favors. You can use them for your honeymoon. Nobody's ever going to know. Wedding favors typically cost between $2 to $3 per guest. For a 100-person wedding, you're talking about a saving of $200 to $300. Little savings like that really mount up.
So there you have it. We've just explained how to cut your wedding costs without compromising magic. With these 7 items, such as wedding programs involving long-distance friends in the wedding party, having a big fancy wedding cake, the champagne toast, upgraded wine selections, the farewell brunch, and of course favors, you can potentially save somewhere between $3,500 to almost $7,000 or more on these wedding expenses. So please, think about every aspect and how you could find a way to cut down the costs to make things easier on your budget.
Now, as you spend the next week planning your wedding, if you want me, Sal, or our community of stress-free engaged couples and wedding experts to answer any wedding-related questions, then join us in the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group.
Once you're in, go ahead and share your concerns and worries, and we'll let you know if you're on the right track or if there are some things you need to work on. The link to join us is in the show notes of this edition, or go to Facebook and search for the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Community.
Remember to do something nice for someone today. And if you can't, then do something nice for yourself. If you've enjoyed what you've just heard, leave a review and share it with a friend or someone who would benefit from this information. Until next time, it's TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Thank you for listening to this edition. A new edition is released every Wednesday. Subscribe and get it first. We'll catch you then. Ciao.
The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast is produced and copyrighted by Atmosphere Productions in association with After Hours Events of New England.